AM 1170. The Answer.
I've heard of stuff where, like, some people have no family, like nothing, you know? And what happens in that case?
I've never had a case where there was no family. We always find someone.
Yeah. You probably more than often have people who argue over the stuff, I imagine.
Right. I think probably the strangest case I had was it was a mixed family. The married couple did not have any children, but there were stepchildren. And that were the wife's children. So she predeceased her husband. Her estate went to her children. And then when the husband died, the children made a claim against his estate, a part of the community property that he got from his wife. Because he died intestate, we had to go through his chain of familial relationships. He had no children, no parents. So his 9 siblings had to divide his share.
And then the stepkids wanted a piece.
Right, so they got the community share.
That was left by their mom to him. What you mean by that? Right, gotcha.
Right, and that had to go through litigation. There was a battle.
All right. Okay, so to avoid probate, to avoid that battle, we've always heard at least get a will. But my best advice, I've always been told, is hire a great trust attorney so they can plan and put all those things in paper the way that you want. So what are some of the basic things you ask a client when you sit down and kind of go over and prepare for their trust? And, you know, hey, when you do die, and that's one thing that we all know is going to happen, at some point, we all got an expiration, right? Something's going to happen to each and one of us, and we want to make sure our family's prepared. So I know that's a tough question to ask, but what are some of the general things you ask to kind of start that process on where their assets, where they want to go, or if they have young kids, who's going to take care of them, things of that nature?
Well, let me back up just a bit. So you're right. We all are going to die. So, saying to yourself, I'll plan this next year,
tomorrow,
10 years down the road.
Right.
I've seen many cases where people die unexpectedly, where both parents pass and have, no provisions for little children. So it's really important if you have children to have a plan in place. You can also find these documents online and do it without an attorney, but I don't recommend that because they're not customized to your situation, and frequently they're incorrect.
Right.
And they don't apply to California law. Every state has its own law in relationship to probate.
Yeah, so you would hate to do something and then find out, I guess you're dead, you don't find out, but...
LegalZoom.
LegalZoom type of thing ends up being issues to where, your heirs have problems, and they have to end up going to court and have a judge decide after all because you didn't clearly define it. So I know you backed me up on that, but what are some of the first questions you ask? What is a client going to think when they sat down with Renee for their first kind of meeting to kind of go over trust planning?
You need to get... the names of all the children, the birth dates, any living second-degree relatives, so mom, dad, brothers, sisters, any property.
Okay.
Not only real property, but any financial bank accounts, any stock.
Safe deposit boxes.
Art. I mean, everything that's of value. Also find out, if they have specific gifts they would like to make. I always note those in the trust. And you want to find out what their wishes are, not only in terms of maybe setting up an education trust for small children to distribute maybe part of it at 18, another part at 25, another at 30. You can make specific gifts saying if they use it for their education or if they use it for to buy their first home, then the trustee can release those funds to your children. You also, very importantly, if you have children under 18, you need to name a guardian so that if something happens to the parents, you have named who you want to raise your children,
right.
And you can actually leave instructions for them. You can leave a letter of instruction. Whereas if you haven't done that, the court's going to decide.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. I mean, that's stuff that we can never hear enough of because, like you said, we all think about it tomorrow, but you need to have a plan. As the new year's coming, we have 2017 right around the corner, we're a couple weeks away. You need to sit down with a great attorney. We recommend Renee Linton, brought in here by Steve with the Whissel team. Renee, been doing, you said trust for 20 years, been an attorney now, right?
Right.
So congrats. Kyle finally made it in the studio. We're going to wrap up this segment. We'll be right back. Again, you're listening to Whissel Wednesdays. And this is Jason Hall. We'll be right back.
AM 1170. The Answer.